My name is Lisa. I'm an equal pay activist, and I want to make sure that women are compensated fairly. We're not asking for more than our share, but we want to make sure that we don't leave any money on the table. So I'm really glad you're here today, and you can go ahead and ask any questions you might want. I'm going to talk today. I want to give you a strategy for how you can approach your boss when you've actually never had a conversation about compensation. Maybe you got hired and you talked to the recruiter about your salary, but you never talked to your boss. Now, one thing I would tell you is when you're negotiating, you actually start asking for more money in that first negotiation before you even accept the job offer. And when you talk to a recruiter, you always want to say, is this position career tracked? And what's the process for pay increases annually? And what's the process for a pay increase with a new title and a salary? So I'm going to actually start the training right at 6. And just if you don't know me, and I hope you do, my name is Lisa, and I'm an equal pay activist. I'm also a certified leadership coach, and I spent a lot of time in corporate. I was there for 25 years. And before that, I was a teacher. So, anyone can go work in corporate, but the people who succeed are the people who understand what to ask for and can make the ask in a way that the decision makers realize your request is incredibly reasonable and that you should be compensated because they want to keep you because you're talented. So today I'm going to be talking about what to say at that 1-year anniversary and what not to say at that 1-year anniversary, because that is going to set you up for a relationship that is going to career track you or leave you in the role you first assumed when you got the job. And I'm thinking that everybody really wants to be career tracked. So in about 3 minutes, I'm going to drop a strategy, but let me share a story about me. I'll make it really quick. So this was a while ago, and the industry I worked in was really changing. We were going from analog to digital, and it was kind of the wild, wild west, because this was TV, everybody who was used to working in analog really had their minds blown about moving into the digital domain. And there was a lot of new industry and business. And that's when we started first working in nonlinear editorial. And there was really no data, and this was really before you could Google anything, about what a fair salary was for an avid editor. And an avid editor is just basically using a computer to work with video, which was really brand new. Now everybody knows it, doesn't really think about it. But at that point, I had no understanding of what a fair salary was. So I get into this negotiation, and I had been a manager with a staff of 3. And I'm going into a creative role. No staff. All I need to do is just design television promos, edit television promos, cut television promos. And I'm talking with the owner of the company. He's saying, so what is your salary requirement? And I said, I don't know what to tell you, which was truthful. I said, I know as a manager, I'm making a certain amount of money, but I don't want to give you sticker shock because this job is so different. And he kept on saying, what's your salary requirement? I said, I don't know what to tell you. I kept repeating myself. And finally he blurted out and he goes, okay, how's $78K a year? Now, truth be told, I was making 50. So $78K a year was great. And simply because I kept saying, I don't know what this job entails, I was able to drive that salary number up without naming any numbers. And he got so frustrated, but we were laughing about it because I kept saying, I don't want to give you sticker shock. And he threw out this number, and it was $28K more than I was making at the time. So of course I said yes. So that's a simple strategy negotiation. And now we're starting top of the hour. Hi, my name is Lisa, and I'm an equal pay activist. And if you're learning that the playing field is not even, and that there is systemic gender bias in the workplace, and if you're a woman, you got to play by different rules, then you're in the right room. Today, I want to share with you a strategy about how to talk to your boss for that first time about money. And you're not going to name that word. So you've done your 1 year in what you thought was your dream job. And 1 year later, you realize the harsh reality that you really didn't negotiate your fair market value. In fact, you're feeling undervalued and underpaid. And the one thing you don't want to do when you go in to talk to your boss about increasing your paycheck, you do not want to say, hey, I've been here a year. Aren't I due for a raise? Game over. That is not what you want to say. What you do want to say is this. Hey, could we have a short conversation? I want to talk to you about my compensation. Now, if you're going into your annual review, here's the 3 questions you can ask. Am I eligible for a cost of living increase? And you should be, but not every company is giving them right now in this financial environment. So number 2, am I eligible for a merit increase? Now, if you decide to use that strategy, you want to come with the receipts. You want to be able to quantify how you contributed to the bottom line. And remember, if you save time, time is money. If you created some process that sped up a delivery system, some process that took out the bugs, reduced the errors, created greater efficiency and higher productivity, that's saving time, and time is money. So you actually want to create a list of all the projects you worked on that returned money to the bottom line. And you want to have that list ready to go before you go in and talk to your boss and say, am I eligible for a merit increase? Because you worked above and beyond in the scope of your job, but you worked on projects that you necessarily wouldn't have been doing by yourself, and you contributed. Now, the 3rd question you can ask is, you start by saying, I am really interested in developing professionally, and I believe I have a lot to contribute. And remember, you've got that list in your pocket of how you did contribute. And when you say, and I want to be able to contribute even more beyond the scope of my current role, I want to contribute more beyond the scope of my current role. Can we develop a plan for me to get that next job title? And you want to ask, what experience, what expertise, what processes do I need to learn to be eligible to get that next title? And if your boss blows you off, then you know either 1, they're overwhelmed, so you're going to need to do a little bit more of the work to actually present them with the right argument to make sure you get paid more. Or if you know they're just not interested in promoting you, then it's time to look for another job. And I suggest you follow the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your time is spent during your current role, 30% of your time is spent looking for your next job, and 20% of your time is spent networking to let people know you're looking for new opportunities. Definitely on the download. So for those of you who just joined, let me wave to all of you. My name is Lisa, and I am an equal pay activist, and I work with women who work in, as I can multitask here. Hello. I work with women who work, let's just do that. I work with women who work in male-dominated fields, and I help them navigate bro club culture and negotiate fair compensation. And I'm doing a masterclass, a free masterclass. Yeah, this is material I normally charge for on June 11th and June 18th at 12 noon Pacific. So if you comment masterclass, you can get the link to register, and you can watch it live and ask me questions, or you can watch the replay. And I'll leave plenty of really juicy nuggets in these 2 30-minute classes, strategies that you can start to begin using immediately.